Hey, welcome to Reviews on the Run. Hope you like comic books because they are well represented in this episode.
I don't like comic books.
Today on Reviews on the Run, Scott and I are taking a look at Batman Arkham Asylum, Stick Wars for the iPhone, Watchmen The Complete Experience, Science Papa, Little King's Story, and in Versus, it's Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger going up against Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Man, have we got a hot show for you today. We are going to get right to Batman Arkham Asylum, but I have to, reintroduce my good buddy, Scott Jones.
Sorry for saying that thing about comic books. I do actually like them.
I know you don't. You don't have to lie. It's all good. I like comic books enough for the both of us, so we're okay. We're doing it all right.
I like graphic novels.
Yeah, okay. Anybody that says they like graphic novels isn't reading comic books. That's what I've discovered.
You're going to club me over the head with
No, it's all good. Graphic novels are kind of like the hoity-toity version of comic
Friends
books.
Still, though. Let's talk about
absolutely.
Batman. I know you've been looking forward to this.
This is unbelievable, man. This is the game that I have pretty much been down on my hands and knees praying for a long, long time. It was getting me down playing all these fantastic Marvel games over and over again. Every iteration of Spider-Man has been very good. Marvel Ultimate Alliance loved it. Loved the Wolverine game. But guess what? Batman trumps all. This game is just absolutely amazing. They hired Paul Dini, step one for a fantastic decision right there.
I know who Paul Dini is.
Amazing writer. Also not deciding to tie this to the Chris Nolan Batman films.
Yes.
Excellent decision. And then they get Kevin Conroy to be Batman. They get Mark Hamill to be the Joker, which are as distinctive voices as have been, these characters ever in the past.
Hey, Sharpie. Love what you've done with the place.
And they've really nailed the vibe and the gothic creepiness in this game so well. And it's not like the animated series, which is where they could have gone. They could have made it a little bit lighter and a little bit more kid-friendly. This is a dark Batman game, and that's why I loved it.
What I felt like they got right with this game is I think the scale of the game has to match the superhero. For example, if you look at Spider-Man, when the Spider-Man games got great, it's because you had this huge open environment to really feel like Spider-Man in. But Batman's not that kind of character. He doesn't need a whole world to roam around in. He needs narrow hallways. He needs little acts that he can be most effective at. This is his world.
Well, and I think that's been, part of the problem with some of the superhero games that have come before this.
That's
the Superman game, the Iron Man game. The developers have bit off more than they could chew. And I think they could have easily have made an open world Gotham City.
Oh, they could have added driving levels and
had but you know what? That could be a great way to grow this franchise. And I would love to see that game happen. But it has to maintain this fidelity and this level of love and real kind of ownership of the characters and like really understanding what the mythos is about. I mean, this is why this game succeeds. Yes, they hemmed it in, but they kept it true. We've only been talking about the storytelling and the visuals and all that stuff so far. What's terrific about the way this game plays, it pulls from Metal Gear Solid and Metroid and Splinter Cell and BioShock, all these fantastic, really pivotal games in the history of video games, and it pulls the best from each of these titles, and it wraps it around inside the Batman universe and the Batman mythos.
Yeah, the combat engine is one of the best I've ever seen. But and you're right. And I just want to make another comment about it's a nice mix of the cerebral and the visceral.
Yes,
he's a thinking man superhero more than any other superhero, and the game is not afraid to put you in a situation to solve a puzzle.
Full disclosure: we did the making of this game.
I was just going to bring that up,
and I was so honored to be asked to do this.
So you can see a documentary that you made. On the bonus disc?
With the collector's edition.
Just the collector's edition?
Yeah, the bonus disc. It was a real honor to be a part of this, or to be a tiny part of it and see these guys do this work because they killed themselves to make this game. It's so obvious, and they've made an excellent game. Whether you like comic books, whether you like Batman, whether you like superheroes,
whether you like video games.
This is a fantastic game, man. This stands up with the best games I've ever played.
It really is. It's really great.
What are you giving it?
We give it a 9.5.
I'm straight up 10, man.
I saw it coming.
Absolutely. Thank you, Warner Brothers. Thank you, DC. Thank you, IDOS. Thank you, Rocksteady. This is the Batman game I've been waiting
buddy,
for.
your erection is showing.
Easy. So there you go, 10 out of 10 for Batman Arkham Asylum. Something tells me you weren't too surprised by that score. No, I don't think you guys were either. But stick around, we're coming back with more comic book action. Watchmen Complete, movie and 2 Watchmen games on one Blu-ray, or 2 Blu-rays.
2 Blu-rays.
Right after this.
It's the comeback of the century as Little Mac returns to the ring in Punch-Out on the Wii. Fans of the original Punch-Out game will find a horde of memorable characters, including familiar faces like Glass Joe, King Hippo, and Don Flamenco. Both novice and veteran gamers alike can punch their way to the top using the Wiimote and nunchuck. Throw body shots, give a few quick jabs, or devastate your opponent with uppercuts. The Wii balance board can also be used to literally bob and weave through fights and should provide an additional challenge for advanced players. For those who insist on old-school Punch-Out purity, the game can also be played with the classic NES-style controls by turning the Wiimote sideways. Two-player split-screen multiplayer has been included so players can test their reflexes against their friends. There are also additional in-match challenges that can unlock hidden extras. Anyone looking to get into a fighting game they just can't put down should look no further than Punch-Out.
Playing a game on the iPhone called Stick Wars. Funny name for a funny game. Basically, you have a big wall, like something from the Lord of the Rings movies. You know, the enemies are all pretty harmless at first, and then they'll suddenly be armed with axes, and they'll be armed with hammers and spears, and they'll try and get to your wall, and if they get to your wall, they'll start doing damage. And if they do enough damage, your wall will come down and you'll lose the game. You defend your wall by touching the stick figures on the screen and throwing them straight up into the air, and you can slam them back to the ground, and they'll explode in, you know, tiny little bursts of blood. And if there's a whole group of them coming in, you might want to pick one up and throw him down, and you wipe out the whole group. It sounds simple. That's because it is simple. You know, there's really not a whole lot of strategy. Basically, you're doing this on the touch screen over and over as quickly as you possibly can. It can get pretty hectic in later levels, but you can unlock things like, you know, a bomb factory, which will, you know, protect your wall and launch bombs at the guys, or you can unlock a wizard school, and wizards will protect your wall. And but those things take a little time to unlock. You'll need to earn funds, and you earn funds by defeating waves of the stick figure guys. You know, it's not going to blow your mind, but for 99 cents, if you expected to have your mind blown, well, you're probably pretty naive. I'm going to give Stick Wars a 6.5 out of 10.
Welcome back to Reviews on the Run. Like it or not, the Watchmen this year has been kind of a big part of popular culture. Zack Snyder's movie came out and it had an okay opening, and you know, it was getting lots and lots of buzz out there.
It was big, but then it went small again.
Yeah, people stopped talking about it, but it was interesting because it was such a counterculture phenomenon in the comics business. It really kind of dissected a whole comic book mythology when Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons put that collection together and deconstructed it. It's kind of a depressing kind of take on all these beloved superheroes.
It's not a thrill ride.
It isn't.
It's not your summertime thrill ride.
No,
popcorn popper.
But I was a fan of the original work for sure, and I was very impressed with the way that
it's a great graphic novel.
It really is. We're talking about the Watchmen, the complete experience here, which is a Blu-ray compilation of the movie, the director's cut of the film. You get special bonus features as well, behind-the-scenes stuff, and then you also get the 2 chapters of The End Is Nigh, which is the Watchmen.
The 2 crappy games that were downloadable.
It's kind of throwaway downloadable crap of material that deserved so much more than that. And obviously the film aspired to be a real labor of love for the fans.
Yes.
The games
were something you'd find at the bottom of a Cracker Jack box.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting though, when you assemble it all on these Blu-ray discs, it actually doesn't seem like such a bad deal. We're talking about a $50 investment or a $60 investment, depending on where you buy the.
Well, why not just buy the Blu-ray?
You could just buy the Blu-ray
instead of buying the 2 crappy beat-em-ups.
It's true.
It's terrible.
Yeah, well,
it's boring.
It's worse than Double Dragon, which is really disappointing.
You know, if you look at something that's so on point, like the combat engine in Batman that we just talked about,
right?
And then you go to this, and it's just you're throwing punches, and guys are hitting you, and you don't know when you should dodge, and then all of a sudden you're dead, and you're like, what is this piece of garbage?
Yeah, and you get surrounded by enemies. This is Batman shows you how to do it right. This shows you how to do it exactly wrong. You get surrounded all the time, and you don't know which guy you're hitting, and you go into all these pre-manufactured animations, and you know, just it feels so forced and phony and not of
garbage.
You know, not true to the source at all. Even though they hired the voice actors, Jackie Earle Haley's in there, and the Night Owl character, and they did a great job with the graphics. I think they did a really nice job with the way that the character models move and are animated, and they get some pretty cool, violent, you know, attacks in this thing, just like they are in the film. The environments themselves look pretty sweet as well, good lighting.
but it's just terrible,
It's just boring.
boring gameplay.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a machine that I could use that I could just make certain things erase from the world.
Yeah.
Like my ex-wife. I would erase her, and I would erase this game because I really feel like, and I don't use this word lightly, it's an abomination.
Sunset brings no relief from abysmal heat. It's only one symptom of city sickness.
Would you recommend that people see the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's important to see the movie.
I
If you're
think
going to
so.
call yourself a nerd, if you're going to call yourself a gamer,
Yeah, a fan
a
of geek entertainment.
you have
and
to
all.
at least have seen it once.
Yes.
So see the movie, but I don't know if you need to own this with complete edition or whatever the hell they're calling
You
it.
got to be a super fan. The movie is not for people that don't appreciate this art form. Even, I would go so far to say the movie, if you've never read the comics, you'll appreciate the stylishness of the design and everything, the production design and the acting and all that, but man, it's tough stuff to get through. So what are you going to give Watchmen the complete
I'm
experience?
going to give it a 3.5 out of 10.
For the whole deal, the movie and everything.
Yeah, why not?
Really?
Yeah, go ahead. You do what you need to do.
Really, 3.5. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I think it's, you know, all that stuff for that price.
I don't
pretty
want
good.
this movie in my house, and I don't want these crappy games in my house.
So you've seen it, you've moved on.
I'm moving on. You know,
All
I
right,
got other
okay.
things to do than
That's
sit
fair.
through a director's cut that's 3 hours long of a movie I didn't like that much the first time.
That's all fair. Don't go away. We're coming right back with 2 Wii games that I guarantee will put a big smile on his face.
So angry right
We're
now.
talking Science Papa and the Little King's story after this.
Just gonna jump.
Don't jump, man. Don't jump.
Hey, do you like science, Victor Lucas?
I do like
Well,
science.
you've come to the right place because we're talking about Science Papa for the Nintendo Wii.
Oh, man.
And Science Papa,
Is not the sequel to Cooking Mama.
No.
It is the direct, let's rip this off, because Cooking Mama sold 1 million copies on the Wii.
use your pointer.
Yeah.
You pick your ingredients, you
Yeah.
mix them together.
Yeah.
Voila, science. What's your problem?
I like the concept of the idea, because those science sets, the science kits, nobody builds those anymore. The chemistry sets and all that.
we like learning.
And learning is fun, for sure. And
Yeah.
you do learn, you know, how some of these ingredients all come together, some of these chemical compounds and things like that all work together to build bars
don't
of
you think
soap and all that.
This is a tool the terrorists could use.
Well, what's so funny is that within, you know, the first 5 minutes of playing this game, you're learning how to make smoke bombs. And then you're getting this constant message is, don't
try this
build
at
these
home.
in the real world without adult supervision. It's like, yeah, maybe you should teach us how to make smoke bombs right
Yeah.
away. And you really don't feel like you're being led into any kind of a story at all. You're just playing this assistant to this Einstein-like character, and you keep redoing the same routines over and over again. And honestly, it's one of these stupid Wii minigame type things where you're tilting your Wiimote for a little bit, or you're
Or this into here.
scratching some stuff off of a bar of soap. Yeah, every Wii minigame has that. It's
You know-
just so boring. It was just mind-numbingly boring.
There's so many games on the market now that I feel like that there's such an influx of new games that a lot of times I can't even believe that these are games. Like I looked at the sheet for our stuff to review for this week. I'm like, Science Papa, that can't be a real game. Victor is trying to pull one on me again, and then here it comes in the mail.
Like, there's just too much of this Wii garbage, too many minigame collection.
Weebage.
Weebage. I mean, like, Nintendo's got to bring back that quality control system that they
Oh,
used to
that's-
have on
the
the
seal of
NES.
approval means
they gotta,
nothing
Well,
now.
they got to do it. What are you going to give Science
1.
Papa? 1 for me as well. Let's talk about a fun Wii game. How does that sound?
Ooh, do they exist?
There are good Wii games. Come on. I'm talking Little King's Story from Exceed. This is, I think, a lot of the same team or a lot of the same people that bring me my lovely Harvest Moon series.
No, you and your Harvest
I
Moon.
love Harvest Moon.
Oh.
This is like Harvest Moon. It's like we're outside.
Except it's brown.
It is kind of too much sun out this way, but
Which looks like Fallout. It's like the wasteland behind us.
Little King's Story is a
Worst box cover ever.
yeah,
What a crappy box cover.
crappy name too. I mean, it's not going to entice people, right?
No, no one's going to buy this. But you're going to tell them why they should
It's
right now.
a charming game. It's like Pikmin, and it doesn't need to be on the Wii at all. Like, there is no Wii motion control stuff at all as a
What
part
about
of this
this on
game.
the iPhone? Would you play it?
Yeah, I totally would play this on the iPhone. It's a very
Wonder if
clever
it would
little
fit
game.
on the iPhone. Anyway,
sure it
tell
would.
them a little bit about how it works.
Well, basically, you play a king, and you've got to keep your kingdom happy and growing and bustling, and you have to create all kinds of different little jobs
You're
for
a
people
boy
and
king,
stuff. You're
like-
a boy king,
like
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and you're taking over the land piece by piece. And you do that by employing carefree adults at the beginning, and you have to kind of bestow upon them, look, you have to have a job. So you can either be a farmer to begin with or a fighter, and you basically run around and you either dig into holes and discover treasures in the different holes or the cracks in the ground. You can actually create a hot springs where you can heal people. Or you can fight enemies and vanquish them and take their goods, and you basically earn dough. And the money lets you buy new land and create new jobs like archers or lumberjacks or builders, which are very important. You can create like bridges and stairs and things like that.
Hey, how about this? Blow your mind right now.
Yeah.
Zelda meets Civ Rev.
A little bit like that.
And you know, the game looks easy. It looks like it has one of these, you know, kid-friendly aesthetics. Yep. And then I get to the second and third level, and all of a sudden,
you're hooked, man.
well, no, then it's hard.
It's very hard, but it's also addictive as hell, which is what Harvest Moon does every time I play that damn game. Stay the hell away from the Cooking Mama or the new Carnival games or the, God forbid, the new Science Papa, and pick up a Harvest Moon. Or pick up, I know you don't like Harvest Moon, but I love that game.
I don't like farming.
Or you pick up the King's Story here and you be entertained. It's fun stuff. It's really a good little game.
You know what would sell this game? If it came with a Blu-ray of a little King's Story director's cut. Then people would pick this up. Yes.
What are you going to give Little King's Story?
8 out of 10.
8 for me as well. Nice surprise.
Nice surprise. Nice to be surprised.
It is. Stick around. We've got two very cool-looking 2D fighting games coming up after the break. One's a classic, one's a new one. And it'll be interesting to see how this happens. Is Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger going up against Marvel vs. Capcom 2 right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 2D gaming is alive and well. Thank you very much.
Clash of the Titans right here.
Yeah, well, kinda. We're talking about Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger. You said that 10 times fast. Going up against Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, you'll probably have remembered Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because it's an old game.
Dreamcast.
It came out on the Dreamcast, but it was an old arcade game.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about graphics first of all. One of them is brand new, so it should look damn better than the old game, right? It should look a lot better.
And you're talking about Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger.
Yeah.
Stupid name.
Visually, did you think it was that much of an improvement over the classic
No, I mean, it still has
Capcom
that sort
game?
of 2D kind of, you know, hinky animation, you know, kind of anime quality. Suddenly you're doing this, suddenly you're doing that, suddenly a huge attack is going on.
Refined.
A little more refined.
Like more
I mean,
frames in the animation, I felt like.
You know, obviously it's derivative of the old Guilty Gear, which we talked about a couple episodes back. And, you know, has that same sort of 2D sprite, hand-drawn quality. I mean, it's pretty to look at. Have we seen stuff like this before?
Yeah. In Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you kind of know what you're going to get, right? You get all these awesome Marvel superheroes, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, and then the Capcom characters, Mega Man and Jill Valentine, and lots of the Street Fighter cast, Zangief and Dhalsim and Ryu. And the visuals in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I mean, it's HD-ified, but they really didn't up-res. It's not like the Street Fighter HD remix that they just did.
These guys look kind of blurred out.
They did a little bit. Still, though, it looks good. But it's not
you know what
super
it is?
pop off the screen beautiful.
But especially compared with Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger, which I now am going to say as many times as possible, which we're now in the end of the review. It's really colorful, vibrant. This game, just like no matter what characters you pick, what your trio of characters, what world you're fighting in, it's just always just like color, vibrant. It's just this alive game world.
Which on a, you know, just from an aesthetic brushstroke, that would seem to be better, but I think that the variety in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 elevates it a little bit, so the fight is a little closer than it should be. So audio, how did these two stack up? We're talking about very old, dated, inappropriate music in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Why didn't they update that at all?
Awful music, awful sound effects, and the stupidest things that they say in that game as well.
Over. Destiny awaits.
And Blaze Blue, you know, the music is a little bit more appropriate, still too crazy for me. Obviously, the fidelity is a lot stronger. The use of the surround technology is better. And the characters, you know, everything comes out crisper and cleaner. They still say a bunch of inane things, and the voiceover is just on my nerves.
Voiceovers are always bad, and they always say inane things. It's the genre.
It's not good, but it's better than the audio in Marvel vs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So production-wise, yes, I think the audio is better in Blaze Blue.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk fun. Which did you have more fun with gameplay-wise?
You know, it's hard to say because Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is something that's so familiar to me, and it was such a great revisitation.
And let me just revisit the price. $15.
Why can't I get a sentence?
Say, but the
No,
price is
it's your
important.
show, I
No,
know.
the price is important. Okay.
You know, you can't extract the nostalgia from my
No.
experience. And so I enjoyed Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I had a great time playing that again, even though I will say playing anything on the Xbox 360 controller is an act in futility.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
You
I
can't play fighting games on that stupid thing.
I can't pull off a fireball.
No way.
So-
and I played BlazBlue on the PS3
me too.
with the PS3 pack.
Which is better.
It's pretty good.
I like the PS3 for fighting games.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good.
Nerds.
It's a little bit different with BlazBlue. They have light, medium, and heavy attacks, and then they have the drive button, and the drive button really activates all your special moves and power-ups and things like that.
It's easier to pull off the more complicated moves in BlazBlue than
Yep.
it is in Marvel
Well,
vs.
you
Capcom
use
because
the-
you don't have the half circle.
Yeah, and you also use the thumbstick,
Yes.
the right thumbstick to pull off
Yes.
some of that stuff, which I thought
Yes.
that was pretty clever. But you know what? I think that the publisher, the developers made a mistake with BlazBlue. I really think it should have been a lower cost game, and I really think downloadable for this kind of content, this 2D fighting genre, where it's really just 2D games. I mean, and I hate to diminish the value, but there's just so much to choose from out there. So I'm absolutely giving it to Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
I'm absolutely. This is the only time in the history that we've been on the same page.
All right, what are you going to give Marvel vs. Capcom 2?
You have a 7.5 out of 10.
8.5 from me. What are you going to give BlazBlue Calamity Trigger?
6 out of 10.
I'm going to give a 7.5 to that.
Okay, you're
sucker.
nice.
So there you go. 2 new 2D fighting games. The classic wins. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is the one we would
It's
choose.
like a Muhammad Ali coming out of retirement to beat a new up-and-comer.
He kicks his butt, right?
Kicks his butt.
Today on the show, Scott and I took a look at Batman Arkham Asylum. Dark, mature, intelligent. Scott and I couldn't say enough good things about one of the best superhero games and one of the best video games of the year. Scott checked out Stick Wars on the iPhone. He liked the game's stick figure aesthetics, but found the finger-swiping gameplay a little repetitive. Watchmen, the complete experience. Packing the Blu-ray of the movie in with the End Is Nigh games is a good marketing move, but the games are thin, disappointing beat-em-ups. Science Papa. This is a mind-numbingly boring Cooking Mama ripoff that has you playing science mini-games. It's Wii garbage, or as we like to say, Weebage. Little King Story. This is a Pikmin-like experience that Scott and I both found to be addictive, charming, and fun, but we're kind of worried that no one's going to buy it. In Versus, it was BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, which features hand-drawn sprites and easy-to-pull-off super moves, but that's still not enough to offset the game's full price. We looked at that against Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which has one of the best rosters in a fighting game ever, and it's only $15, but the visuals and music still needed a next-gen boost. In the end, there was no contest. We much preferred Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But the Rogers video game of the week is Batman Arkham Asylum. This is an instant classic.